Hello, friends, and welcome back to r/ProRevenge. Let's start with a story in which our OP is denied service because he looks lower class and can't shop at a certain store. See what happens at the end. But before we begin, don't forget to subscribe to our channel if you're new here and turn on notifications so you don't miss a new video every single day. Here we go. Think I'm too poor and not good enough to shop in your clothing store? Miss out on a $2,000 sale. So I was accompanying my girlfriend on her winter shop to stock up on new clothes, and after she finished her purchases, asked me if I wanted to look at anything, which I thought, why not, as long as we're here? So we go into a certain large urban clothing store, typical overpriced, trendy sweatshop store, and started looking around. Mind you, I'm wearing tracksuit pants, a hooded jumper, and beanie because it was a lazy Saturday for me. After about 10 minutes, I received no customer service at all, even when I'm looking at buying a fleece leather jacket for $250 that I wanted for riding on my motorbike. Anyway, they didn't have the jacket in my size out on the floor, so after finally pinning down a staff member, I asked if they had anything else in the back, to which she replied, "We might have, but I don't think the jacket or anything in this store is for someone like you," with a condescending look on his face. Completely gobsmacked, my girlfriend and I let out this kinda, "Seriously?" scoff and walked out. Now, I'm not rich, but I'm well off because of my job and minor living expenses, so I think to myself, F that P, and start walking around for a new shop and come across an Oxford store, which seemed to have really nice business casual wear and suits. The second I walk through the door, this immaculate, Chris Hemsworth-looking, bubbly ray of sunshine comes up to me and my girlfriend and asks us how our day has been and says we aren't leaving until he can go all queer eye on me. So bugger it, why not then? We spent over an hour in the store and ended up buying 2 full suits, 3 pairs of shoes, a cashmere jumper, some other shirts and pants, a leather wallet, and everything fitted by an in-house tailor. The staff member asked me if I needed anything else, and I said I'd like to put it all in bags with big Oxford labels on the side. I decided to keep wearing one of the suits and put my lazy clothes in a bag for the rest of the day. Well, after my splurge, I wanted to get my hair fixed up to complete the picture, and after walked through a department store and sampled some colognes as well. Afterwards, we headed back over to the clothing store and went back to looking at the fleece jacket and was immediately apprehended by the same staff member who was rude beforehand. After a few seconds of talking, he recognized who I was and looked me up and down and spotted the big shopping bags and asked if I still wanted to see if there was something in the back. I just looked him straight in the eye and said, "Probably not, mate." I just dropped about $2,000 at another place you'd never be able to afford, and your clothes just aren't good enough for someone like me. After I walked out of the store, I felt both like a stuck-up jerk, but also proud to rub it in that snob's face for being disrespectful because I looked lower class. And our second story. Dealt with a lying landlord by threatening to run up their bills. I had a landlord in the past who slipped a 90-day notice requirement into the rental contract after I'd signed it. I was house hunting, so at the end of my lease, I asked to go to a month-to-month lease to make it easier to leave when the time came. Landlord and I agreed on a higher monthly price to compensate them for the lack of security, and I signed the contract at the office of a business they also owned downstairs. Landlord wasn't actually present, but one of their employees handled it, so contract is signed and they go to make me a copy for my records, but are having an issue with the copier. After a few minutes, they ask if they can text me when they get it to work. I naively agree and head upstairs 30 minutes or so later. They text me back saying they got the copier to work, and I come pick up my copy. I didn't think to double-check everything at the time. So for the next few months, I just pay my monthly rent while I look for a home. Finally found the right place, and the closing date was about 4 weeks out, so I immediately notified my landlord that I would be leaving on said date. Landlord responds, "That's nice, you found a home." Landlord responds that it's nice I found a home, but I would be responsible for the next 2 months' rent after that as well, due to the 90-day notification requirement in the contract. I'm totally confused. So I go check my copy of the contract, and sure enough, there's a stipulation in there about that. I also noticed that my initials from the top and bottom of each page, verifying that I've read that page, have somehow mysteriously shifted to being doubled up at the top of the page after this stipulation, with none on the bottom of that actual page. This was because they had inserted 2 lines of text detailing the 90-day reporting requirement after I'd already signed the paperwork. They didn't notice the formatting error it created, which was a dead giveaway of what was going on. I informed the landlord of this and notify him that this is not a legally binding contract due to this issue, and state that I will not be paying any further rent this month and expect my deposit back without penalty. Unfortunately, he persists with stating that this is a legally binding contract and he will pursue it in court in addition to withholding my deposit if I fail to pay, blah, blah, blah. I know I'm legally in the right, but I don't want to have to deal with the courts to settle it, as that takes forever, so I come up with an alternative plan. The one thing he hadn't thought about was the fact that the contract included all utilities, as the unit didn't have separate meters and did not have any language forbidding excessive use of them. It just so happened to be a particularly cold winter, so I informed my landlord that if he wanted to persist with his demands, I would be inclined to leave all the windows open, crank the heat as high as it would go, open the refrigerator door, run the water 24/7, etc. And if he entered the apartment without my permission to turn any of these items off, I would report him to the police. I got confirmation that he would not pursue the extra month's rent or security deposit within 20 minutes. Massive fraud attempt fixed. Well done. Future reference, take a photo of each page next time. And our last story. Want to F over me and fellow employees? Well, how about you run the shop yourself? So I worked at an auto repair shop known for its mechanics in desperate A situations. Hint, hint. And this shop was toxic. The manager would put work orders in people's names who didn't do the work, would knock money off just to make the sale, manipulate arguments between me and my 2 coworkers, one being another technician and the other the assistant manager. Call us not real mechanics, criticize our work every chance he got, just a bad manager. Actively try to pick up female customers so he could date them. This story is about the straw that broke the camel's back. One day, we had a conference call at 6:30 a.m. over safety procedures. 2 cars had fallen off lifts in our district and was costing the company money, and my assistant manager drove a van through a wall, then backed up into the bay door. That story's for another time, though. The video of it was hilarious. 2 hours later, Dodge Ram 2500, lifted, wheel spacers, etc. All in all, a stupid truck. I hate working on big lifted trucks as a mechanic. It makes for racking it and getting it up in the air a pain in the butt. Off topic, but deal with it. So all they wanted is an oil change and tire rotation. Good deal. 25 to 30 minutes off the clock. So I get it in the air and it's wobbling on the lift. Wobbling on the lift! Now, I'm not scared of getting under a car. I've had plenty of big vehicles 7 feet in the air while working on them. My only problem is when they start wobbling. Now it's wobbling so bad, my assistant manager and coworker recommend me not going too high in the air with it, and we just had a conference call on exactly this. So I go up maybe 2-3 feet in the air with it, high enough to do my job and get it back down without it killing me. My store manager doesn't like this. SM. Get off the ground! What are you doing? Me. Like job? SM. Don't be a P-word. Go all the way up with it. I don't have time for you playing around. Do you see this? I pushed on the front end to make the truck wobble. I'm not going in the air with this. You will do what I say. The F I will. You want to go up in the air with it? Have fun. I tossed my tools on my cart and went to grab the next work order. He walked into the office and came out with a write-up which I didn't sign and sent me home. Whatever, I'm already in commission this week. But as I'm driving home, I hatch a plan to royally F this dude over. Over the next couple working days, I get the assistant manager and my coworkers to quit with me on Saturday, our busiest day of the week, since a lot of people are off work and want to get their car worked on. Saturday rolls around and I show up on time. I sit in my car as I see SM pull in one vehicle, then another, then another. He walks over to my car. Are you going to work today? Nope. He walks back inside and I see him on the phone, visibly sweating from driving vehicles and the fact that my other 2 coworkers haven't shown up yet. I walk in the shop and start packing up my tools. 20 minutes later, Slick, coworker, walks in, starts packing his stuff up. I go around the shop making sure I have all my tools, not wanting to leave any of my money laying around. Then the DM shows up, starts begging me and Slick to stay. He'll give us a raise. No thanks. Asks what it'll take. We both tell him, fire that crap stain of a store manager. Well, he can't do that. We both gather our things and leave. The assistant manager never did show up. The next Monday, I'd applied for a shift manager position at an auto parts retailer that sold parts to our shop. I was friends with the manager and some of the drivers. I was offered the position by the district manager, and he just happened to be making rounds to the repair shops in our area to butter them up so they only ordered parts from this chain. And next thing I know, the position is no longer available to me. I can only speculate my store manager had talked badly about me when it honestly was none of his business. But after a few months, I heard through the grapevine that crapstain took a vacation and never showed back up. Guess he shouldn't have been such a condescending jerk. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video, and I'll see you in the next one.